And your undertone be neutral if you receive a color analysis result of true winter, true summer, true spring, or true autumn? The quick answer is no. Somebody who is true autumn, true spring, true winter, or true summer would not have a fully neutral or neutral range undertone in the color analysis system or process I do. But continue on with the discussion on different variations that are possible. For the purpose of ease of this discussion, I'm going to use the palette of True Spring as an example, but just to recap my other content, True Winter and True Summer are the cool undertone palettes, fully cool, and True Spring and True Autumn are the fully warm undertone palettes. How does one get a True Spring color analysis result? In step 1 of color analysis, the warm colors would have beat the cool colors. In step 2 of color analysis, when autumn versus spring is looked at, which are the warm home seasons, spring would have won. And in the last step, looking at the types of spring, True Spring would have won and beat the color comparisons over Warm Spring, which is the palette between spring and autumn, over Bright Spring, which is the palette between spring and winter, and Light Spring, which is the palette between spring and summer. Now, Light Spring and Bright Spring are the neutral undertone range palettes of spring. True Spring and Warm Spring are the fully warm palettes of spring. If I look at this really simplistically, in the last step of color analysis is when skin undertone is finalized. And so somebody who receives a neutral range undertone would typically be given a True Bright or Bright Spring result if they're in the spring category, or True Light or Light Spring result if they're in the spring category, because those are the neutral undertone range palettes. So what does that mean then? In comparing True Spring versus the Bright or Light palettes, the Bright or Light palettes would have passed color analysis checks. If True Spring won, the True Spring colors would pass color analysis checks, which is a fully warm palette. What is color analysis? It's about matching with your undertone value and intensity, meaning the colors that pass color analysis checks match your undertone value and intensity. And when you do that, the benefits of color analysis are achieved. In essence, the facelift without the surgery, I call it. If you're given a True Spring result and told your skin undertone is neutral, there's a mismatch there, because the True Spring colors would not be adding vibrancy to your look. There would be a mismatch on the undertone. Now, I do give palette results sometimes that bridge two palettes if it's an extremely close call when looking at, say, True Spring and other spring type palettes. So let's say somebody it was a close call between cool and warm in step 1, and when I got to step 3, it was a closer call with the neutral palettes, or one of the neutral palettes that is. I would be saying they're True Spring moving to that neutral palette, or starting to move slightly, and I would alter what colors to focus on in the True Spring reference, and perhaps suggest an add-on card. That's getting really technical, but have I ever given a result out of True Spring with a neutral skin undertone? The answer is no. It would always be bridging some other palette, or there would be additional details around the colors to focus on in the True Spring palette. A big caveat before I receive a ton of emails or comments is what you hear in makeup stores is very often different than a color analysis. So when you go into makeup stores, they're typically not doing a color analysis process on you. And you typically have colored hair, perhaps makeup on and things like that. I go into makeup stores, I'm always recommended warm undertone makeup as an example. I'm a True Summer, fully cool undertone. And so what brand formulations are doing in makeup stores, sometimes and a lot of the times they're inconsistent with color analysis. But my advice, as always, and it's already up there in my content, but I'll repeat it, is there's two aspects to your skin and to any color you see, including foundations. There's the undertone and then the surface coloring. Surface coloring is easy to see, but when you match foundations to you, if you've had a color analysis, you want to align the undertone of that color analysis with the foundation choice. So you would, in my case, I'm cool undertone, I would approach cool undertone foundations, but my overtone often has, or surface coloring often has, yellow qualities to it. So when I'm in the cool undertone section, I want to match the foundations I'm looking at with my surface coloring as well. And it's quite often the case where you have to mix different products and what have you to get an exact match to your surface coloring. But that has nothing to do with undertone. That has everything to do with matching to your surface coloring and the foundation choice. And I've said this many times, I can find a warm foundation likely that blends with my skin, but does it uplift my skin is really what you're looking for when choosing a foundation. I hope this helps.